Harry's Wife, part 100.15. They are seeing what I've always said. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. No doubt you've woken from dreaming about being a princess, because apparently that's all you dream about these days, wanting to be a princess, like Princess Pinocchio. Or perhaps you're deciding that you're going to engage in some diva behaviour, but you're not actually a diva. Perhaps that's the new version of Schrödinger's cat. We have Schrödinger's diva. Nevertheless, you also ought to have been availing yourself of the jolly generous 60% discount that your glorious narrator has been provided. If you haven't, and you suddenly feel cold and clammy at the news that there is a discount that you have not availed yourself of, just scroll back amongst the videos and you'll see the right one. The Ultra is back, 60% discount. But let's put all of that to one side for the moment, exciting and interesting that it is. But it's time, of course, for the pronouncement to be made that now people are starting to say the very thing that I've maintained for a number of years when it comes to Princess Pinocchio, Harry's wife of Monty Shit Show, that she is a narcissist. Way, way back, many, many episodes of Harry's Wife ago, it all started with a very royal narcissist, part 1. Some of you may say, she's not royal in the slightest, and indeed you're correct. But she was given the a very title as a consequence of the fact that I would use a very when referring to different types of narcissists. I have analysed Donald Trump, Oscar Pistorius, Harvey Weinstein. I have analysed Jada Pinkett Smith. I have analysed Will Smith. I have analysed Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, Brian Laundrie, Chris Watts, Kevin Spacey, Alec Baldwin, Hillary or Hilaria or Hilarious Baldwin, Taylor Swift, Boris Johnson, Vladimir Putin, and more besides, all of whom form part of the very series. And I would encourage you to access those to not only understand more about those particular individuals, but also the repeated and brilliant examples of the analysis, so you can determine where people are narcissists and where they're not. Of course, when it came to Harry's wife, I started with a very royal narcissist, and then as a consequence of her ongoing behaviour, a less than royal narcissist, and eventually it transformed into Harry's wife. And because she keeps pushing herself in front of us, and of course the media keeps highlighting her, she is such a prominent example, it is utterly remiss not to utilise her as a model, in inverted commas, of narcissism in action. Too many people, of course, have referred to her behaviour as a gold digger, the social climber, that she's a horrible, evil individual, and while some of those adjectives may well be accurate as themselves, they somewhat cloud the issue in terms of failing to allow people to understand that she is a narcissist. I maintained this a long time ago, and I did so based upon the evidence that I had acquired, evidence in the public domain, evidence from the private domain as well, and also my own involvement with her personally. That enabled me to look at the evidence over a sustained period of time from a variety of sources to make that determination in an objective and even-handed fashion as to what she is. Thus, having established that she's a narcissist, I have then been able to interpret her behaviours, her dynamic with other people, for instance, Prince Harry, Prince Charles, Prince William, the Duchess of Cambridge, and so forth, to explain to you precisely why she does as she does and why she functions and behaves in the manner that she has done. I've also utilised it to predict what's coming next. I did so successfully by explaining that she would drag Harry away from the United Kingdom via Canada and ultimately find herself in California. I predicted also other actions with regard to her unravelling, the crumbling and the downward spiral, which is now gathering pace. I've also explained to you what you can expect in terms of the future, vis-à-vis her relationship with Prince Harry. All of those are dealt with in parts passive. Just embrace them and share them. Allow other people to access this unrivaled material, which more and more people have been utilising, both in terms of their own enjoyment and also for the purposes of accessing it to enhance their own podcasts and YouTube videos. Such is the reach of the ultra. But we turn now to a piece by Brendan O'Neill that has appeared in The Spectator, which states as follows. I've read some batty celebrity profiles in my time, but that piece about Harry's wife in The Cut takes the biscuit. It is almost unbelievably preposterous. It shines a glorious, if unwitting light on the narcissism and outright daftness of the right-on celeb set of which Harry's wife is now queen. Where to begin? How about with the basic setup? We're heading for a catastrophic energy crisis, with people forced to choose between heating and eating. And yet, here's Harry's wife, in her multi-million-dollar luxury pad in California, telling us how hard her life is. Delusional, lack of emotional empathy. Pity play. The Cut's reporter, Alison P. Davis, gushes over Harry and Harry's wife's sprawling mansion. It's the kind of big that startles you into remembering that unimaginable wealth is actually someone's daily reality, she says. It has 9 bedrooms and 16 bathrooms. Who needs 16 bathrooms? And it is from here, draped in eye-wateringly expensive high fashion for the Cut's photographer, that Harry's wife weaves her tragic tale of being trolled and bullied. Forgive me if I forget to cry. Pity play. Just how hard is this Duchess's life? So hard, she sometimes can't even put it into words. She can only groan and wail. Seriously. In possibly the maddest part of the interview, Harry's wife suggests to Miss Davies that she might transcribe the noise she's making. She tells Davis to write something like this. She's making these guttural sounds, and I can't quite articulate what it is she's feeling in that moment, because she has no word for it. She's just moaning. Just moaning. You got that right, Harry's wife. That very thought crossed my mind as I read this demented piece. But can we just take a moment to contemplate the fact that the Duchess of Sussex advised an interviewer to document her guttural sounds? The cynicism of this is pretty extraordinary. Harry's wife behaving like a movie director, setting the scene of her own suffering to secure the pity of readers. Note the reference here, of course, by the author to her setting it like a movie director, precisely what I talked about in my videos yesterday, where Harry's wife believes that she writes the script, directs the film, and stars in the film of her life, with the soundtrack running through her mind. Perhaps in her big interview, she'll fling herself on the bed and sob for all her sorrows, and then ask her interlocutor, "Did you get that?" Again, there's that gaping disconnect from reality. As I, H.G. Tudor, have explained to you, Harry's wife operates in her own reality generated by her narcissism. Is the single mum, who's currently stocking up on cheap jumpers from Primark because she won't be able to put the heating on this Christmas, meant to feel sorry for speechless, moaning Harry's wife of Monty Shitshow? Read The Room, Meg. Of course she can't, because she has no genuine emotional empathy, because she's grandiose, deluded, haughty, set in her own delusional bubble. A close second in the crazy stakes is when Harry's wife tells Davis about the time she met an actor from South Africa who said to her, "I just need you to know, when you married into this family, we rejoiced in the streets the same we did when Mandela was freed from prison." It's hard to know what to say about this, other than the screamingly obvious. Moving into a massive palace with a prince is not like being released from 27 years of imprisonment. Harry's wife seems to labour under the delusion that she's Royal Rosa Parks, striking a blow for civil rights by getting hitched to an HRH. For me, though, the most disturbing part of the interview is Harry's wife's claim that some people unnamed use the N-word about her children. She's complaining about the fact that members of the royal family who want to release photos of their children have to do it through the Royal Rota, that is, the press pool that covers royal issues. She would rather release such pics on her own terms. She says, perhaps via her own social media sites. Then the killer line. Why would I give the very people that are calling my children the N-word a photo of my child before I can share it with the people that love my child? This is an incredibly serious allegation. Is Harry's wife suggesting that one of the reporters in the Royal Rota used that vile racial slur against her children? If so, she should say who it was. Or is she saying that the N-word was used somewhere in the British media more broadly? That just isn't true. Not one media publication in this country would use such a disgusting word about a human being, let alone about a child. And of course, once again, we see the likelihood of the fact that this just didn't ever happen, and it's Harry's wife's narcissism revising the truth once again. We've had the lie about the Lion King premiere. Liar, liar, pants on fire. We've had the lie about the fact of believing that she would be followed everywhere by the press, something I'm going to be dealing with shortly in terms of photographs being taken at the school. And now the lie about the use of the N-word. Her narcissism, as I've explained, is in overdrive as it scrambles to assert control. And as it does so, that nose is getting all the longer. Returning to the article, maybe Harry's wife will characterise this as bullying too, but I think it's completely unacceptable for a royal person and influential figure to issue such serious and ill-founded charges against the British media. Stack up your claims, Harry's wife, or withdraw them. But the author, whilst understanding that she's a narcissist, fails to precisely understand the nature of her narcissism, namely, she's allowed to say whatever she wants, because her narcissism tells her that she is. She is the victim in all of this, remember, and if you dare to point out that she's wrong, if you dare to have the audacity to explain that she's a liar, you are the liar. You are the hater. You are the misogynist. You are the racist. Her narcissism will never, ever brook any suggestion that she is wrong. You're wrong. No, and you're wrong. And you over there with the red hair, you're wrong. And you with the ponytail, you're wrong. And that gentleman with the baseball cap on, you're wrong also. You are all wrong. I'm not. Stamp of the foot. Returning to the article. Who's bullying who here? It strikes me that Harry and Harry's wife are doing a pretty good job of bullying the British media. From her palatial home in California, Harry's wife hints to the world that the press in the UK is so gutter-like, so bereft of morality that it even uses the N-word. We don't. Stop defaming the free press. I'm sorry, what? That Harry's wife is happy to share this anecdote is truly wild. And that's the observations from The Spectator, as they're now starting to comment about the narcissism of Harry's wife. The very title of the article that I've just read to you. Something that I've maintained, and you're now starting to see more and more of it. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.